welcome back, everybody. I'm John Henry, Executive Director of Both Sides of the Conversation. We are back. I got some of my voice back, okay? I don't know, just a little bit. It's been an amazing weekend. A lot going on. I know I wasn't here on Tuesday. Last night, we had a phenomenal ending to Black History Month at City Hall with our Mayor, London Breed, Shaman Walton, the District Attorney, Malia Cohen. Phenomenal event. Just want to say San Francisco put on for the city yesterday. I don't care what they say. The amount of Black leadership, the amount of Black folks that showed up to support community and solidarity, came out to uplift the people, was truly amazing. Yesterday, history was made on Black History Month in San Francisco. And for all of you that were a part of it, all of you that was there to witness greatness, regardless of what folks say, Black folks showed up and we had an amazing time during Black History Month. So I'm excited to say this year has been over the top with the amount of Black history events, the amount of folks who've been recognized, the talent, the Black excellence that's taken place all across the country. But here in San Francisco, it has been tremendous just to see just all of the talent and all of the gifted folks that are doing amazing things to uplift our ancestors and to uplift the work that is taking place. So totally excited, happy about that. Also wanted to just say thank you to the community for everybody that came out to our bowling event and to our award ceremony. I mean, I am still emotional. I lost my voice. I'm still exhausted. I mean, all of the people that, so many different things, when you're trying to do something to bless the people and you're trying to do something to impact community, there's so many things that's always going against what you're trying to do. And it's like, we're always trying to uplift the people. And I just want to say, and just take a time real quick, just to thank our Both Sides of the Conversation team, our amazing vendors, all of the folks that had their hand in on this event. When I say everything was handled with class and elegance, all I've been getting is nothing but love from the community of how blessed they were and how great the event. So many things were taking place. Families who were impacted by violence, trauma, was able to just get away from that and come to our event and celebrate and just live and take their minds off what's going on. So just want to say shout out to the community, over 800 plus people, okay, at this event. I think it was about 975, but I don't know, community. All I can say is we did a phenomenal job. Community showed up. We had representation from every district across San Francisco at that event. No incidents, no arguing, no problems, just all love. Young people blessed, elders blessed, community blessed and impacted. That's what this event is all about, bringing community together, giving folks an opportunity to connect and get to learn new people in the community, see some different folks. Thank you to all of our elected officials who showed up. It is important that as community, we find a way to have some type of solidarity, some type of interaction with our community leadership. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Mayor London Breed. I know there's a lot going on, but she made a point to get there. I want to give a huge shout out to the mayor of Daly City for showing up and, just taking time out. So much stuff going on during Black History Month, but for those elected officials to take time out to come be a part of community, just to get out, enjoy some of the Black joy. It was a blessing. I want to give a huge shout out to Supervisor Shaman Walton for showing up. All of the elected officials, D.A. Jenkins, Police Chief Scott, a number of city officials out, and different department heads and folks working in departments out to be a part of this experience. It was great. And I'm excited. Like I said, I lost my voice screaming with the young people, having a great time. Over the weekend, about 1,200 plus people were impacted by the work that happened. These type of events don't happen easily. It's a lot of planning, a lot of work, but none of it happened without our sponsors, the amazing sponsors who believe in what we're doing, supporting us, even through all of the chaos, the storms, just knowing that, hey, both sides of the conversation is going to make it happen for the community. And that's what we did. So thank you to all of the sponsors who came together to make this weekend special. But I want to give a couple announcements to the community because we always listen to our community, and I'm already making decisions because I want to make sure that our community is impacted. And I know a lot of folks came up to me last night and over the week, just calling me saying, John Henry, it was too much. I wanted to be there. So we're going to let community know now that next year we're going to move our bowling event until March. I'm already making that decision. We're going to move the bowling event into March just because there's so much going on. We have Black Joy Parade going on. We had all the events taking place. So this year we're going to move it into March, all right, to give people time. I don't want to compete with community. You know, I always talk about building community. I don't want our community to have to fight between coming to our event, Black Joy Parade, Chinese New Year. It's just a lot going on. So we're going to move our bowling event into March. Because I don't want community to have to fight and choose between, I want to be at your event, but I also want to be here. I know it's a lot in February. So we're going to allow these other organizations, other folks to have their time during Black History Month because it's some historic things, and I wanted to be a part of the parade, but I couldn't because I was dealing with our stuff, and it's just a lot. So next year our bowling event will be in March. We'll give you the dates as we get close, but we'll do it. Let everybody enjoy Black History Month, but it'll be a great time for us to also honor the women in March for Women History Month, so that there's stuff going on for that, and we'll make sure that we do a lot next year to empower the women during Women History Month. So just putting that out there to community. I hear y'all, people came to me, talking to me. So we are going to honor that. And I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you're blessing the people, you're blessing the people. So I just wanted everybody to know we will move our bowling event next year into March, just because there's so much going on for Black History Month. There's some historical values there. And I don't want folks to have to choose between our event and other events that's going on, that's been taking place. So I'm the new kid on the block. Okay. You see, I'm humbly holding my ego down. Okay. I'm not into how it's done. I just want to make sure that we impact community. It still will be honored as our Black History event, but we will do it in March just because it's so much. And I want to be a part of those other community events as well. So next year we'll do it in March. It'll be a great time. If you missed it this year, you missed an amazing one. For all you that were there, I still see the smiles. I'm still getting texts and the phone calls and the emails. And a lot of folks we still trying to connect with to get them their awards. And we appreciate you all for showing up. It's been tremendous. And I was so proud of community because we showed up and showed out. And we talk about changing the narrative here at both sides of the conversation. That's what we did. We showed that we can't have almost 1,000 Black folks in one space without one incident. No arguing, no fighting, no nothing. Just Black folks enjoying each other. And it was all races there. We had all races, but I'm just saying that's changed the narrative. So kudos to our community for showing up, doing what they were supposed to do, being there, and having a great time. What it was all about, no cost to nobody, just coming out, enjoying the day with community. So that was very powerful. So I just want to say thank you again, community. What an amazing, amazing event. Thank you to all our sponsors and to our both sides of the conversation team. With that being said, the rain is back. Okay, community, be careful out there. It's storming. This storm is going to be here for the next 4 to 5 days. So be careful out there while folks are driving around. There's still trees following. Folks in the North Bay up in the mountains, there's a lot of snow coming down. Make sure you have your chains and your stuff. Be safe out there because there's a lot of rain, and they are predicting heavy winds tonight and tomorrow, up to 100 miles per hour winds in certain areas, certain counties. So just be careful out there as this storm is coming through. A lot of folks are going to be impacted by the storm. So just be careful. Make sure you have your stuff that's in the yard tied down, as these winds are going to be ripping through the Bay Area and down through out the state of California. So just wanted to put that out there. But with no further ado, go ahead, open it up to my guy, the voice, Brother Mark. Talk to the people, brother.
Well, first of all, Bishop, let me just say, community, thank y'all for coming out and sharing with us again. I was absolutely inspired this weekend by what I saw being in town with you guys. Um, yeah, tremendous is probably the word that comes to mind most. And everybody from all of the sponsors the city officials, down to the babies in the 0 to 5 year old. Bishop, let me just commend you personally. I admire your wisdom and your lack of ego as you have the ability to bring the whole community together. I hope that the movement and the momentum that I saw this past weekend continues, because you have some real kings and queens in your community there. And to see how everybody came together, and I don't care who it was, whenever you spoke or gave somebody your attention, Bishop, it brought a certain kind of life to them. And I'm just saying, I've been in ministry, I've seen powerful men. You actually are a true definition of what a bishop is in how you move. Like not the religious stuff, but you're getting stuff done and you're bringing other people along. And that is something that is important. A lot of times, great men and women don't get recognized in their season. So I want to make sure I give you your flowers now. Bishop, thank you for rolling out the red carpet community. I love y'all. I'm any way I can support, I want to support. And shout out to Uncle Stank. Y'all got some real kings out there that are doing things in the community. I'm so glad we have this platform to be able to uplift and shine a light on it. And I just look forward to working as much as I can to support the movement out there.
Man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for those words. It's always great to be uplifted by your peers, folks in the community. You know, I have the utmost respect for everybody, and I just appreciate those words. I'm always humbled, right? Now I try to make sure people feel appreciated, uplifted, and loved. And it takes a lot. You know, we're asking community to step up and stand with us as we are headed to these challenging times. You know, I talked about it yesterday. There's a lot of major cuts happening across the city. Okay, it's going to impact all organizations, all city residents, all everything, you know. And the saddest part is these cuts are starting to affect, you know, our youth. A lot of our single parents are going to be impacted this summer season because of the funding cuts, because of all of the job loss, because of all of the corporations that's leaving San Francisco and the Bay Area and California. We got tremendous economic crisis that's taking place, economic pressure that's going to impact our community. And I just want community folks to know we got to stand together, and we will get through this, because we always do, but it will be tight. There's a lot of things going to be happening. All support is needed. When we talk about the rainy day, I always hear folks, we got to hold on for the rainy day. Now is the rainy day. As these cuts continue to come down, everybody is being impacted by these cuts. City departments, state, federal. So we just got to all be mindful and just help out. I know we all get busy in our own lives, but this summer is going to be a summer that we're going to need a lot of support for our youth, our single parents, as a lot of the summer programming is being cut. So that means childcare, daycare, food, summer events for young people are going to be cut. There's a lot of things that's going to be taking a hit this summertime and throughout the year. So I want to make sure community, we stick together. Folks who have resources, make sure you're doing your part to impact young people, elders, the people in our community, single parents. We're going to need it, okay? It's just the times that we are in, and but we'll fight through and get through it as we do, as a resilient country, as a resilient city, as a resilient people. We will find a way. It takes us all. You know, and I just want to say, even while we uplifting this Black joy, stepping out of the last day of Black History Month, there is still attacks that are happening in our community. There's a lot of folks out there taking a shot at the Black community, Black-led organization, Black leadership. And I ask the community that we stick together, even in these difficult times, even when we have our personal gripes and different things, that we support the leadership that we have in place, and we support the different department heads that are making things happen, and to our community leaders that are doing things to impact our community, because it is so needed right now. And we don't want to give the enemy and these folks who are against us, who smile in our face and make it seem like that they support us, but they're to tear us down. So I just ask community, let's really work together and stand in solidarity working with each other. I know there's difficulties. I know we've had different things in the community, but let's find a way to get on code together. Like Mark always say, let's find a way to have some kind of humility, some kind of compassion, some understanding for what our ancestors have been through, for us to be unified, to push forward. And this is the time. We have election season coming up. Folks will be able to have their voices heard at the polls. But again, let's continue to uplift each other. Let's continue to support each other. Let's continue to find a way to move our communities forward and uplift the people in our city. So just wanted to put that out there. Again, thank you to all of the folks who've been calling, checking on me. Get rest, relax. I've been trying to do my best. But I'm still out there moving with the people. A lot of folks being recognized. Want to give a shout out to my guy, Nate Ford, Renard Monroe, and all of the folks who were honored by the Board of Supervisors over the past week. Want to give a shout out to all of the amazing job that our community keeps doing. Want to give a huge shout out to B Magic, Mo Magic, Brittany Ford, the team, Nico, Uncle Stank. A beautiful, beautiful resilience event for our young people. Again, we still must uplift the young people in our community. We must give them hope. We must give them an opportunity to be great. And why not during this Black History Month, we saw our young people being uplifted as we step into Women's History Month. There's some phenomenal women that are stepping in the right way. Pacemakers, the new Harriet Tubmans who are trying to free the people. Community, let's get behind them and let's uplift them and support them. And let's continue to move our communities forward. So with that being said, enough. I'm going to shut up and get into the business. We got an amazing guest that's coming on tonight. I hope you guys enjoy this presentation, but we got to take care of our business, get through the news and announcements, and let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on. The city and county of San Francisco is using wastewater to track the fentanyl use. The city is planning to use wastewater testing to track the use of fentanyl during their federal program involving 70 cities. Again, we know everybody has to urinate, have to do something. So they're going to use those sewer waste lines to see how much fentanyl is being used and how many districts, how many parts of cities is it being, tested at, just to see how bad it is. We have a terrible, terrible problem with this fentanyl, this substance abuse in our city. And just across this country right now, as so many folks are trying to find a way to end this crisis on substance abuse. Also, half of the drug use and folks that's being cited today, San Francisco Mayor London Breed, she put out a report with the emphasis from the district attorneys and some of the arrest information. And they're just talking about some of the folks and individuals who have been arrested over the past year. About 718 individuals were arrested and cited for substance use, with 47% of those folks being non-residents in San Francisco. As y'all know, in the Bay Area, there's a lot of crime, a lot of things happening, and it puts our cities in a bad spotlight, San Francisco, Oakland. And a lot of times these folks who are committing the crimes, doing the stuff, they don't even live in these cities, and they just come here to do crime. So just want to put that out. We do have a problem in San Francisco. There's a lot of things being done, but over 260 pounds of fentanyl was seized. But there's a lot more work that needs to happen. Again, we're working together to try to help folks who are users, folks that are dealing with substance abuse, folks that are dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, dealing with mental health, to find other ways for those folks to get support without using substance like fentanyl. As we know, fentanyl is very deadly in our community. Also, a judge blocks a bill allowing police in Texas to arrest migrants for illegally crossing the border. One of the judges blocked the bill, SB 4, by the U.S. Justice Department. Folks are trying to just go up against different things about this migrant. We have a problem. We have an issue. I know the senators are sitting at the round table now trying to figure out this shutdown. What's going to happen with these immigrants coming into the country? What are they going to do? These conversations are going to continue, but we have a problem in this country, and it's going to take all of us, both sides, to figure out how we're going to impact these migrants and how we're going to impact what's happening. These folks are being dropped off in cities, impacting budgets, impacting cities. They need help and support as well, but we got to find a way how we support and help to change in some of this stuff. Very, very important conversation that's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks. Also, the Nordic virus cases are on the rise. I don't know what it is, but every winter, every year, it seems that some virus is taking out people. But the U.S. is seeing a rising number according to the CDC. Very contagious disease. Please just be careful. Basic stuff. Wash your hands when you use the bathroom. Bleach, sanitize, do the things that you need to do so that we can keep these viruses down in our cities across the country. But so much is happening locally, globally, and we are in for a lot, community. So buckle your seatbelt, get ready for the ride, figure out your part. What are you going to do to help uplift people as we're trying to change the narrative as community, and are we trying to uplift the people? So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to the voice. Brother Mark is going to talk to y'all about all the events that's upcoming in March, some of the things that's going to be taking place. Get ready, community. The impact is still happening. Brother Mark, go ahead and get into the events.
You got it, Bishop. Let's go ahead and jump into our first event. Five Keys Schools hosts Google Workspace Workshop Series. Tuesday, February 6th through March the 5th, and Thursday, March 7th at the Southeast Community Center. Morning and afternoon slots are available. For more info, see the link below. And the National Coalition of 100 Black Women in San Francisco presents the 19th Annual Golden Girls Hats and Gloves Tea on March 9th from 12 to 3 p.m. at the Fairmont. For details, see the link below. And explore the annual SFCD Information and Resource Conference 2024 happening on March 9th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Balboa High School, 1000 Cayuga Avenue in San Francisco. For more details, see the link below. And celebrate at the Harriet Tubman Day Brunch and Underground Shiro Ceremony, hosted by Because Black is Still Beautiful and Stand in Peace on Sunday, March 10th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Southeast Community Center. And join the Society for Cultural Advancement for Rise and Thrive, a free community impact event on March 16th from 1:30 to 4 p.m. at the AAACC. Focuses will be on financial empowerment, home ownership, entrepreneurship, wealth building, and investment. Refreshments will be provided. For more information, see the link below. And attend a reception with Mayor London Breed on Thursday, March 28th, 2024, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Support the re-election of San Francisco Mayor London Breed. Visit the link below for details on how to contribute. And announcing the Mr. Q 2024 College Scholarship in remembrance of a life well lived. Scholarships for high school and college students who are interested in public health or related fields. Deadline is March 31st. To apply, see the details below. And the River of Life Church is accepting signups for River of Code Spring Session 2024 on Mondays and Wednesdays until April 3rd at 4:30 p.m. at the River of Life Church. You'll learn computer skills, coding, and building and engineering. For more information, see the phone number below. And join YCD, Bridging the Gap, and the Bay Area Desperados for WAGA 19, the War Against Gun Activity 19-year anniversary on April 13th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Bayview Opera House. All ages are welcome for live entertainment and food. And mark your calendar for Hip Hop TV's first annual Fashion and Arts Gala 2024, honoring Chantel Herden on April 27th from 6 to 9 p.m. All proceeds will benefit Chantel's children. More details are to come. And join the Neighborhood Emergency Response Team for full training on March 26th through May 1st from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the San Francisco Fire Department Division of Training. Tickets are available at Eventbrite. And attend Estate Planning 101 with Hera, the second Thursday every month from February 8th through June 13th from 12 to 2 p.m. at Booker T. Washington Community Service Center. Registration is required. See the phone number or link below. And Opportunities for All offers career exploration and workforce development for San Francisco youth and young adults ages 13 to 24, living or studying in San Francisco. For more details, visit the link to apply. In 2024, Summer Opportunities, programs and camps for kids K through 8, over 160 options for learning, engagement, safety, and health. Ready for fall? Click for details on the link below. And DCYF Youth Opportunities, ages 14 to 24. Explore the opportunities for youth, portal for summer jobs, internships, and more in San Francisco. For ages 14 to 17, watch for paid summer job openings in March. And the SOA City is Mine Tech and Sports Camp from April 2nd through November the 26th will be located in various locations and times for ages 7 to 16. For more details, see the link below. And APRI is hiring a Community Innovation Lab site manager. To apply or get details, see the link below. And Kids in the City presents Hair 101 workshop Saturdays 1 to 3 p.m. at the Chase Center. Youth ages 7 to 17 will learn about unique hair. Supplies will be provided. Registration information is below. And join SECC at Hungry Cafe from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for co-working eatery and social space with delicious bites and local coffee at the Southeast Community Center. And SFOEWD and the Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center offer business support services for small business entrepreneurs in Bayview and Fillmore. See the number and the link for more information. And join the Dream Team to buy, sell, trade, size swap, or co-sign sneakers all below market rate. And Minding Our Black-Owned Business initiative by BWOPA Tile honors Black women entrepreneurs. Nominate a favorite Black woman-owned business. For more details, see the link below. And the Dreamkeeper Initiative's Senior Home Repair Program offers up to $50,000 forgivable loan to low to moderate income senior and or disabled homeowners in distressed San Francisco neighborhoods. To get more information, see the link below. And the San Francisco Human Rights Commission holds regular bi-monthly meetings on the second and fourth Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. in the San Francisco City Hall Room 416. You may attend in person or via Zoom. And Fathers to Founders Child Support Clinics every Tuesday and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 232 6th Street in San Francisco. You can get guidance on child support debt relief, license holds, custody, and visitation rights. For more information, call the phone number for an appointment. And Dreamkeeper Initiative's Down Payment Assistance Loan Program offers up to $500,000 for down payment assistance and up to $30,000 for closing costs. You can be connected with housing counselors, lenders, and realtors. To get more information, see the link below. And the Walters Wellness Group hosts Sip, Paint, and Center every first, third, and fifth Friday. Come unwind and set the tone for your weekend. Be fueled by tea, creativity, and grounding. Hosted by Dr. Kathia Walters and a team. For more details, see the link below. And join Fathers to Founders for Fatherhood Reimagined therapy group sessions every Tuesday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Food is provided. To get more info and to RSVP, see the phone number below. And APRI hosts youth workshops. There will be job referrals, resume building, skills, internships, networking, and community service hours. To get more details, see the phone number below. And Fillmore's Friday Night Market, every Friday from 4 to 9 p.m. on O'Farrell Street between Fillmore and Steiner. There's live music, food, vendors, dominoes, prizes, and fun. Vendor booths are still available. Contact the link below for more information. An ongoing vaccination site offers the COVID-19 boosters and monkeypox antiviral pills. To see the times and locations, look below. And the Community Living Room offers free breakfast and grab and go lunch Monday through Friday at City of Hope Cafe. To get more detail on the times, see the information below. And the San Francisco Office of Financial Empowerment offers free, confidential one-on-one smart money coaching. You can get financial guidance in English or Spanish, the other languages available upon request for anyone living and working in San Francisco. For more details, see the link below. And you can be a mentor in SFUSD's Mentoring for Success. Sign up to volunteer as an individual or group mentor district-wide. Make an impact. See the link to sign up below. And both sides of the conversation seeks community members to mentor youth and lead basketball and recreational activities on Saturdays in San Francisco's juvenile justice system. Stipends will be paid. To get more info or to apply, see the link below. And would you like to promote your business, your nonprofit, or your community impact? Then sign up for our Hidden Gem show. Or you could share your expertise on an Educational Thursday or be a panelist on Sunday's conversations. For more information, see the link below. And you can also keep up with both sides of the conversation's latest shows and community outreach events. Follow us on all our social media platforms, and you can also subscribe to our newsletter at bsotc.org. And both sides of the conversation also welcomes volunteers to join our mission to uplift and support the community. Make a positive impact. Become a volunteer today. You can email us at hr@bsotc.org. Also, BSOTC invites your support for our podcast and community engagement. Please explore any of our donation links because your generous contributions will greatly aid us in enhancing our programming. And we would like to take this time to acknowledge the Dreamkeeper Initiative and its support of both sides of the conversation's programming and San Francisco's diverse Black communities. To learn more, see the link below. And also, we would love to hear from you. Let us know how we're doing and what topics you would like to see included in our shows. Please take our survey at the link on your screen below. And also tune in for our upcoming Sunday conversation this Sunday, March 3rd. We're going to be talking about unlocking Venus, the secret desires of women unveiled. That's going to be a good conversation. And also next Tuesday, of course, as always, the Hidden Gems on March 5th. And that will conclude our announcements.
Hey, Mark, I don't know about this Sunday conversation. Okay, unlocking Venus. I don't know, Mark. I don't know if I'm ready for this conversation. Okay,
the ladies. I'm hoping we get some good ladies for that one.
I got some ladies trying to come on. They want to talk their stuff. Okay, unlocking Venus. Oh, Mark, it sounds like trouble this week. It's gonna be a lot of shots fired, but we will blow up the spot for the ladies this Sunday. They better get ready when they come in here. Okay, I am not taking no mess this Sunday. Okay, we're gonna have a great conversation. I'm looking forward to it. Well, Mark, we've been getting through all of the events. It is time to bring up tonight's presenter. This is a very, very good Educational Thursday topic. Prevention and pleasure. The two P's that I think I need both. You know what I'm saying? So, Mark, go ahead and read the bio of this young lady and bring her up here so we can get started for tonight's presentation.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure and honor. Miss Alexis, or Lex Dailey, is a sociologist living in the Oakland area who specializes in finding the balance in healing ourselves through traditional and modern practices that give us back the power we have always had within us. Originally, she's from Memphis, Tennessee, and Lex grew up aspiring to become a birth worker and learning natural medicine practices as well as socio emotional techniques from her mother and grandmother. Now she is an equity coordinator and data analyst in San Francisco, and she's also a doula, and she's the proud owner of the Daily Dose Shop, which is and also as an intern with the Jamoya Research Institute. So, with no further ado, we're going to introduce the summit presenter ever, Miss Alexis Dailey. How are you doing, sis?
You got it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing so well. How are y'all tonight?
We are doing absolutely wonderful. As
Bless.
always, it's a pleasure to have you. We're definitely look forward to hearing what you have to bring to the community on prevention and pleasure.
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about this topic. I have a lot of things in here that people tend to shy away from, but everyone has questions about. And so I feel like people will have a lot of follow up questions, and I'm here to answer as much as I can. And I'm humble enough to say I don't know when I don't. I'd rather you know that there's more information out there than me giving you false information. So I hope everyone is ready for a really good time and see something that they didn't know in this presentation today.
We might have to call you on Sunday for these ladies.
I'm gonna have to look in on that one.
All right. Well, are you ready for your presentation? We'll get it up here and let you walk through it. Community, pay attention. This is some good information. We'll take your comments and questions at the end, but we'll go ahead and pull up tonight's presentation for you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So tonight's presentation is called Presence is a Present, a comprehensive discussion on HIV and prevention and sexual pleasure. My name is Alexis Dailey. I'm a public health sociologist, which means that I study human behavior and other patterns in our society and present them in ways that have a research and science base, but also a way to help you connect to everyday life and the way that we live it locally and globally. Next slide. So I always give a trigger warning with these sorts of discussions because they can bring up feelings about our own behaviors or behaviors we have seen others experience. And I want you to know that you can feel free to step away and take care of yourself. And I want you to feel like this is a welcome and safe space. If you have questions, please let me know. My socials will be running at the bottom, and so you can always DM me on Instagram if you have follow-up questions that that you may not feel comfortable asking in public. Next slide. So, like I said, my name is Alexis Dailey. I'm a public health sociologist with a background in reproductive justice, Black, Indigenous, and people of color health disparities, LGBTQAI and Two-Spirit experiences, tribal public health, and education. My pronouns are she, her, and as I mentioned previously, this is a safe space, which means as we discuss our personal journeys, we have a responsibility to ourselves and one another to choose respect as our first response. So if you don't understand something, that's cool. My big phrase is always, don't yuck someone else's yum. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to go over these topics, starting with our introduction, the basics of HIV prevention. What is harm reduction? Where do we see it in our everyday lives? How does your self-esteem tie into HIV prevention? The types of orgasms. I bet you didn't know there was more than one. Building connection, planning for pleasure activity, the revolution, and we can have discussion and close with my contact info. All right, let's go. So, first, I want to acknowledge the land. I'm currently on the unceded ancestral lands of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, who are original caretakers of this land, and I thank them for this space. And I honor it by decolonizing the way we move through this time we have together. I use my voice and existence to honor the lives that we have lost to HIV and AIDS epidemic, particularly within the Black community. I continue to fight for those whose lives we can still save. Next slide. So let's talk. Since the very beginning, we've found ways to entice ourselves to indulge in pleasure. In a lot of ways, sometimes when you hear the word pleasure, it's automatically sex, but we don't experience that form of pleasure for quite some time into our lives. Early ways that we experience pleasure is the way that we were held as children, or the favorite foods that we have, or even our social interactions, the way that we have joy with each other, reading our favorite book, watching our favorite TV show, hearing our favorite song, being able to do an activity that makes you feel good. And when we talk about the way that we interact as cultures, as many cultures, as our own culture, we a lot of times find that pleasure is at the center. Those practices tend to have some sort of greater purpose, whether it is to indulge, or it is to worship, or it is to have some sort of diligence and competition, and end goal, if you will. And so, in a world where we can be shamed because of that pleasure, and then because of that shame, we have misinformation, we have stigmatization, we have people who want to oppress one another due to the ways that they experience pleasure. We in this space are going to break down those walls and have a discussion on how we can honor ourselves and how we can decolonize the way that other people put misinformation and stigmatization and terror within us and remove us from our own experiences because they want their experience to be ours, and that's just not fair. And so we want to spread this useful information. So feel free to make sure that others in your life have a better understanding, because a lot of times the easiest way for us to learn is from someone that looks like us and someone we already have a relationship with. Be free. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, so just the basics. HIV is spread in the transmission of 6 body fluids. And I have them up here on the screen, and we will discuss them a little bit more. First is blood. A lot of times when we discuss HIV, that's one of the earliest ways that people were understanding the transmission. This could be through the use of medical supplies like needles or other syringes, but it also could be through not testing a transfusion, or even tearing that can happen during sexual intercourse. Then there's rectal fluids. We have vaginal fluids, semen and pre-cum, and we also have breast milk. One of the ways that people were at the end of finding out how their HIV is transmitted was through breast milk. It's the one that a lot of people are not as familiar with. And when there was a recent shortage during the pandemic of baby formula, I made sure to let folks around me know, like, hey, if you're going to feed other people's children, or you need folks to be able to feed your child due to the formula shortage, make sure you are staying up on testing. Testing isn't just for our own sexuality, or isn't just when we have a scare. Testing benefits us for many, many reasons, but at the end of the day, it's for our health and the ones that we are engaging with in various ways. Next slide. So we have a lot of options for prevention. Thanks to modern medicine, this HIV is a virus that a lot of people are able to live with and successfully lead long lives, even having down to being undetectable, meaning their viral load is so low that the rate at which they may transmit HIV to someone else is extremely, extremely unlikely. And so here's some of the ways that we are able to prevent HIV and many other viruses The only difference is certain viruses may be skin to skin, others have different rates of transmission. And so for this sake of this presentation, this is strictly about HIV prevention. So we have condoms, which we know you can have latex or latex free if you or your partner has an allergy. We have lubricant. A lot of people do not know, and this is a great way to introduce pleasure back into your sexual experiences, but lubricant helps prevent tearing. Remember, I said that one of the ways that blood may be introduced into the transmission of HIV is through tearing. Tearing doesn't necessarily mean what you might think it does, like giving birth and someone having some sort of tearing. Tearing happens in like micro tears, is what we call it, meaning that they are very, very tiny little tears that can happen just when things get a little spicy. Lubricant makes sex much, much more pleasurable. A lot of folks feel like, oh, if you need lubricant, then you're not able to self lubricate. But we also know that different factors affect our body in different ways. And so you may be on a new medication, or you may have worn a particular kind of underwear. Different things will change whether or not you're able to self lubricate. But regardless of the ways that you self lubricate, lubricant is always a way for you to make sure that you prevent HIV and the transmission of other viruses. Clean syringes is another one, which is why I mentioned them at the beginning. If you or someone you love are using syringes, whether it be for a medication or other needs, make sure that you use them clean. And if you do not have access to clean syringes, look up your local syringe exchange program where you can get them. There are also tutorials on how to self-clean them. And if that is the case, then it's much easier to maintain your status if you are the only one using them, but want to just make sure they're disinfected. Regular testing. Getting tested every 3 to 6 months makes a huge difference. Whether you're monogamous or not, there's no shame. One of the reasons I went into this sort of work was so that I can make testing more accessible to the community. So I was an HIV testing counselor in Tennessee, as well out here in California. And across the board, there was always a stigma people felt about coming in and getting tested. Like, if they came in and it wasn't a reason, particularly like there wasn't an emergency, then they felt the need to disclaim why they needed to come. And then if it was an emergency, they felt a shame around not getting tested as often as maybe they would have before they had this scare. There is no use in having shame around your sexuality, and especially around taking care of yourself with testing. One of the ways that you can introduce that into your relationship with someone else is to go and get tested together. And that helps open up that conversation, and it makes things so much easier when you know one another's status. Another strategy we have for HIV prevention options is through the use of medications such as PrEP and PEP. The difference between PrEP and PEP is PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, meaning it is for daily use. And there are different versions of it now, but it is a medication you take to prevent HIV. And then PEP is used more so in emergencies or in a place of concern. Maybe someone let you know that they had their own testing and was tested positive, or maybe you just had a situation where a condom broke, or maybe you didn't know a person very well and you wanted to be proactive. So one is pre, one is post. That's one of the easiest ways to remember. Then there are other strategies, such as mutual masturbation, and we're going to get into some of those other harm reductive strategies. But the good news is that HIV is 100% preventable. There is absolutely, absolutely no reason that we cannot take care of one another and take care of ourselves through censoring our pleasure, especially if you are in California in the Bay Area, there are so many resources for us to get access to condoms, get access to testing. I think that you can, if you do have insurance, you can go through them, and there are laws around how your information is delivered to you. And also, there are specialists in many clinics and hospitals these days around partner services. So these are people who are professionals at making sure you have someone there when you want to disclose or talk to your partner about test results or your health. Next slide. Okay, so let's get into it. The way that we navigate through our sexual health journey and make decisions based on what is most accessible and pleasurable is called harm reduction. Next slide. Harm reduction, by definition, according to the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, is creating strategies to use to reduce the harm associated with activities such as drug use and sex through a variety of public health interventions. But the concept relies on more than these tools and begins at the most fundamental level with recognizing that all people deserve safety and dignity. It does not treat drug use and sexuality as a moral failing. So when we talk about harm reduction, we as community members, as health professionals, we believe that you know what's best for yourself. And one of the best ways to have that faith in yourself is to be informed. One of the best ways to let someone know that you have faith in them is to make sure they have the information they need to make the best decision. It's not around shame. It's not about making sure that someone feels less than. It is simply about making sure that people feel safe in their bodies and feel like they are making really good decisions about their lives, or at least the best that they could in that moment. Next slide. So let's get into more of the pleasure side. Pleasure and prevention are not enemies of one another. Like I said, when we talk about prevention strategies, condoms, testing, PrEP, PEP, those sorts of things, a lot of times there's a shame attached. And that is that is an effect of a white supremacist culture that is not sex positive, that wants you to feel like you're not in your body so that they can use your body for the things that they want you to experience, which is probably producing some sort of capital for them. Outside of that, it's not about you, but it is. You are the only one who will always spend time with you. And if you really let that idea sink in, it helps you prioritize what exactly you experience on a day-to-day basis and how you can make sure that you don't have those sorts of regrets or shame. You were simply in a situation and you made the choice that you needed to. When it comes to sex, it should always be an enjoyable experience between consenting parties who are looking for their own safety as well as their partners. And when we talk about pleasure, it requires us to become in tune with our needs and desires so that we can communicate with partners and maximize our experience together. I also want to remind everyone that when we talk about sex, it's a very sacred, ritualistic thing that we as animals on two legs are doing. And so you come to this world whole. This person that you are engaging with is also a whole being with a whole past and a whole future. And so in the ways that you take care of yourself helps reflect the ways that you love on yourself, the way you are in tune with your future self. When I say future self, I mean the person who will experience the results of your decisions. I sometimes I'll notice that I'm running out of something, and even though like, oh, I have like 20 left of something that maybe I use every day. And then, of course, here comes the day where I ran out and I wasn't ready. And then I'll be like, but wait, I did get another one. And I'll be like, thank you, past self. Or maybe if you have a nice night out with friends and you are out a little late, you might take something to help make sure your back doesn't hurt or your head doesn't hurt the next day. And you may have set yourself out a sandwich so that your blood sugar doesn't drop too low in the middle of the night. And that's you taking care of your future self. And so feel that self-esteem grow as you learn how to take better care of yourself and you seize those opportunities to do so. And I want you to understand as well that you deserve for your needs to be met. And that includes the way that you enjoy sex and the ways that you can boost your self esteem while you center your own sexual journey is in the information that you have right here and right here. So, next slide. Okay. So, how do we center pleasure in everyday life? Also, please make sure you're asking questions in the chat because we will have a question and answer section at the end. And I have no problem answering as many questions as we can fit in tonight. So, one of the ways that you center your pleasure is to speak up. There have been survey upon survey discussing that, especially when we're talking about bottoms, women and femmes, that a lot of times they are taught to not speak up as much during sexual experience. They're taught to fake it till they make it or grin and bear it. And that's not fair to you. It's also not fair to your partner. If your partner does not respect you enough to center your voice and your pleasure in the experience that you are having, then they don't deserve that experience with you. It's good to establish a safe word or some sort of mutual respect or guidelines with your partners. Don't accept anything less than you deserve and honor yourself by choosing not to engage in acts you're not comfortable with. No means no. And consent is sexy. Think about how wonderful it sounds when you ask someone if they want you, when you ask someone if they want something done to them, or you ask someone to do something back to you and they are enthusiastically saying yes versus, I don't know. That you don't want that from your experience, and your partner should have an enthusiastic yes. The next way is that we are prepared and we know our status. If you are able to grab some condoms, bring some dental dams, bring lube, other supplies, and consistently test so that you can reduce the fear that you may experience with the new partner. If you have those test results ready and you are requiring that in your partner as well, you're good to go in the talking stage, in the get to know you stage, in the I just bought you a drink stage. So that's why testing is so important because it really helps with the process of us engaging with one another. The next one is to learn your body as you grow. I mentioned earlier about how lubricant is stigmatized as something may be wrong with you if you're not self lubricating in the way that someone else is. And that's not a thing as much. All of us are different. And like I said, different in the ways of hormones, in the ways of the food we're eating. We may be on a different type of diet or vitamin schedule. We may be on a different medication or just stuff is going on in our lives. And just because all of those things are happening or things are changing in our body, it does not mean that we don't deserve pleasure. It simply means that we are growing. You never stop growing until you transition on in the end. And so as your body is changing, so are your interests, so are sometimes your pleasure points. Grow with your pleasure. When you move through the changes in your body, so will your experiences and so will the people that you experience in those times. So think about it. Someone that you may have liked in high school, they are totally not your type. You may be like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I didn't end up with them. But then there also may be someone who you adored in high school, romantically or as a friend. And still to this day, they are your number one, your ace. And that's exactly what's happening on the inside as well. That person that we may have had a connection with a few years ago may not be that same person. But that doesn't mean that you can't find a new type of pleasure. You can't find a new partner. That just means that you are growing, you have changed, and so will the things that you experience and the way you experience your pleasure. Next slide. Okay, so the things they did not tell you. I got this graphic from Incredible Sexologist. Her handle is on the screen. It's Ask Goody on Instagram. And there are 12 types of orgasms. She shared this on her page, and I wanted to make sure that you can see them, and I'm going to read them off. So the different types are vaginal, anal, oral, nipple, clitoral, G spot, A spot, U spot, cervical, erogenous zone, mental, and blended. One of the reasons why being so in tune with your body and your energy is so important is because when you are, you're able to not only connect to that person that you're with or people that you're with better, it's also a way for you to connect to yourself in this way better. When you know exactly what brings you a lot of pleasure, when you know your body because you have pleasured yourself or you have prioritized your experience, you are able to access different forms of orgasms. Sometimes you may learn how to do this through a course, such as some that a sexologist might do. You may learn to do this just by accident, trying something new. There's a lot of ways you can experience these different types of orgasms. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how you get to know yourself to find the ones that you're going to enjoy. Next slide. Okay, so build a connection. When we're talking about connecting, we're not just talking about connecting with other people, we're talking about connecting with yourself. You keep growing, you keep learning, your body is changing, which means that the ways that you are going to enjoy yourself is going to change. One of the ways that we experience this is masturbation. Masturbation or sexual exploration through self pleasure is a wonderful way to achieve a connection to self. Find a toy or a sensation tool that you are curious about and try it alone. One of the ways that you can experience this is get sexy for yourself. Like when you first get your hair cut or you done exfoliated from head to toe, or you got something that you know you gonna look good in around the house, go ahead and do that. Light your candles after you done vacuumed, and find a nice, comfortable spot to self pleasure. This is a great time to try something that maybe you're not quite ready for with another person, but you want to see, does this work if I do it? Or, how does it feel if I touch here? And it also can help you prepare to feel brave enough to ask someone else to try this with you in the future. And then when you are with that person, make sure it's someone you can trust. Make sure it's someone who won't judge you for the things that you are asking to try. Be adventurous in the way that you engage in sex with others. Be adventurous in your enjoyment and your pleasure. Picking out acts and tools that you're curious about can be a form of foreplay. When you're going to a store, a toy store, bring a date. Bring a date. Try some things out. Talk to the people who work there. They want to help you. They know about these sorts of things. Go online and see if there are any tutorials or reviews about it. You can also have some that you've already gotten and let someone pick them, or you can do a game around them. There's a lot of ways to have foreplay in trying new things to kind of loosen up that don't necessarily have to include drugs or alcohol if that's something that you're trying to avoid in your sexual experience. And then you want to give your partner something enticing to look forward to and learn about. So, one of the ways that you also can build a connection is in that foreplay. Foreplay doesn't necessarily just mean the 20 minutes or few hours before you engage. Foreplay can go for days. And think about how enticing that is. Think about the build that you experience with your partner when it can take a few days where you are like, oh, I'm going to go buy a toy, go online and pick these out. Or we're going to play a game with some of these. I have, and I hope my mom's not watching, I have, with my girlfriend, these little remote control things, and I won't go into further detail, but I have those. And that is a way for you to experience pleasure as well. That's a way for you to lead up to foreplay, lead up to an experience. And so there's a lot of ways to build connection, but these are just like a couple that you can start out with when you're trying to get to know someone and yourself a little bit better. Next slide. Okay. So some other ways that we build connection is honoring ourselves. Make a pledge to keep yourself safe by engaging in activities such as discussing consent, knowing your status, and advocating for yourself before, during, and even after sex. You want to set up boundaries, which means that you're prioritizing your needs and choosing yourself in your experience, especially when it comes to things that you're not comfortable with. And be open to the changes that this can have. You may be at a few months or a few weeks into getting to know someone, not comfortable at all with certain acts during sex or at certain acts during foreplay. The same way you might not feel comfortable with that person meeting certain people important in your life. But then those things change as you get to know one another, as you become more comfortable. You may feel like, okay, I think I can talk to them about this, or hey, I really want to try this, or hey, I actually don't like when you do that. And it not be something that is considered offensive, but more so a way that you can grow together. And then what's in my toolbox? A toolbox isn't just a code word for where you keep all your special toys. It is also, when we're talking about behavior around public health, it's what things do I know for different situations, or what supplies do I have for different situations that are going to help me in real time. So these are harm reductive tools like testing, condoms, verbal consent, dental dams, lube. A lot of the things that we've talked about today can be what you consider your toolbox. And then be affirmed. Affirming yourself with an understanding that you deserve what is best starts with phrases like, I am worthy of pleasure. If you struggle to do these, find some I am statements that you can do just basic. They don't have to start with pleasure. They can just start with, what type of person do you want to grow into? What kind of goals do you want to achieve? How do you feel about yourself, or how do you want to feel about yourself? You can work your way up. You can also, if you're not comfortable discussing pleasure in that way through sex, you can start with the ways that you experience pleasure in other forms of, in other places in your life, such as through your food experiences, through your music experiences, through just platonic social interactions, through the way that you travel or sightsee or get to know others. These are some ways that you can affirm yourself and work your way up to the pleasure that comes with sexual interactions. Next. Okay, so pleasure is revolutionary. When we talk about, especially in the Black community, about our revolutions, the Civil Rights Movement was a revolution. Us in Reconstruction and the way that Black people made a way out of no way after slavery was a revolution. The way that we are taking back our dignity and the way that we care for one another, the way that we advocate for one another is revolutionary. And inside of all of that, because we in this country have experienced oppression in our bodies directly. Remember, I said that they want to remove you from your body if it doesn't serve them. The way that we've experienced oppression through our body is also tied to the way that we experience sex and sexuality. When you're centering your health and your wellness as a human right, as a civil right to life, you are also choosing to center the unique ways you experience life. The consent, the testing, the finding what makes you feel good on a daily basis with a partner, by yourself. Do you want it over there? Do you want it in the chair? You know, all of that. that is your sacred right. You have a sacred right to be pleasured and to pleasure others in consensual ways that bring color into the palette of life. When you eat good food, I don't know about you, when you eat good food, it makes your soul shine. When I eat good food, I'm like a little kid and I'm like this in my chair. When people experience good sex, they tend to have a bounce in their step, to be glowing. They tend to see that they tend to have that pleasure reflected on their actual body, on their spirit, because it's something that makes you feel revolutionary. It changes the way that you experience life. It changes the way that you are able to have connection with one another. And so, by just existing and by doing so with the intent of bringing joy and decolonizing and curating your life through a lens that they cannot destroy, you are being revolutionary in your everyday life. And I'm proud of you. You came here, you're listening to this, and you're going to take some of this and you're going to practice it. You're also going to share this with other people. And you are going to be a revolution in your everyday life amongst yourself and your community. So, next slide. Thank you. It means the world to me to be able to serve my communities through education and wellness. My contact information is right here. I am ready for any questions anyone might have. And I really appreciate y'all having me on tonight.
Wow. All I can say is great job. We need to have these conversations in our community. I don't know. You didn't talk about the good sex to bring out the demons in people too. I don't know. This conversation is gonna get heavy, but I mean, I really appreciate you coming on. One of the things when we talk about sexual health, when we talk about some of the things that you covered tonight, it's a taboo conversation. Here at both sides of the conversation, we've been trying to break down the taboo, the stigma conversations, and really be one of the voices, one of the platforms where we can really educate, uplift our community, because we have to get past the right. We have a lot going on in our community. Young people are becoming more and more teenage pregnancy. A lot of things are happening, and we have to be able to have that conversation, even if it is uncomfortable for people. We get a lot of our church folks and some of our spiritual folks. It's like you talking about sex,
right?
But we have a serious problem with the transmission of HIV and other STIs and things of that nature in our community. And we do have to have the conversation. So I appreciate you not only bringing this education and awareness to the community, but being able to have the conversation. I hope the community understands that we do have to be open to have more of these conversations and to be able to move our community forwards and understand what we need to do to take care of ourselves, both mentally, physically, sexually. It's all connected in some kind of way. So I think that was very powerful. But we'll get to some questions. I know Mark sitting over there, he has a couple questions, but somebody in the chat, this is the first question they wrote. I just read a statement made that 99% of women don't have orgasm during sex with their male partners. Are you finding this a common complaint?
Yes, this is a common complaint, especially in countries that are very Western minded. If you think about the ways that we learn about, how do I say this? Sex in more pleasurable ways, a lot of times those communities are oppressed groups in the West, or are oppressed groups in a place that may not be in the West, but is colonized by a Western place. So when you talk about like the Kama Sutra, that is something that comes out of Southeast Asia. And it is an incredible, incredible book, but it's considered taboo because it teaches you that you're supposed to center someone else in your pleasure. And it teaches you that you're supposed to engage in masturbation. It is a huge issue, especially amongst straight women. They have the highest rate of I should say the lowest rate of orgasming during sex. And that has to do with the ways that women are, typically taught to just, like I said, grin and bear it, fake it. But you're doing a disservice to that person, because also, if you're going to stay with that person, you've got to let them know what they're doing is not enjoyable. And if you're not help the next person at all, in the future. Help the future other person by not letting that person just be out here all willy-nilly doing a bad job. Or at least get them used to receiving feedback. Maybe no one has ever told them. Sometimes that's something that people hear, especially when we're talking about heterosexual men. They'll sometimes say, like, no one's ever said to me that I'm not good at this or that they don't like this. But the girls will know, and sometimes they will even tell each other. And so that's something that we really, really want to encourage, especially amongst women, is to speak up. If you need to stop and regroup, then do that. Like, you can still teach someone how to help you. And actually, like, being able to show someone something the way that you enjoy it, or have them try something new in a different way, can be really, really sexy. Especially because it shows that they care about you in the bedroom.
I just say, look how crazy they go. No, let me stop. That's fire. Hey, but I want to say, when women say that, we hear these statements about 99%. How much does this play into the female toy? Because I blame the rose, okay? I'm a rose hater over here.
It's not. It's not
the rose is destroying the
toy.
bedroom. The rose is destroying the bedroom.
No, well, that's the thing. The rose is so. I come across the issue of people thinking that, like, oh, if you have a toy, then you're taking away the sensitivity, or you're trying to replace someone. So the point about toys is they're supposed to be used amongst yourself and with a partner. Like, I want more people to see that rose in that bedroom drawer and to use it with each other. It will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. But they see it as an intimidation thing, and so then they're like, well, what you need that for? And it's like, maybe you should try it together.
Not everybody sees it as an intimidation thing. So some of us actually appreciate the benefits of tools. But
right now,
this is such a fascinating conversation. I have to be responsible because there were some things that you said that I want to talk about or ask you about first for understanding. Okay. And then I want to move into a little bit more of the fun stuff. You mentioned the word shame multiple times. Now, I have a background. I used to be a pastor. Mm-hmm. My ex-wife and I were marriage pastors. Oh, wow. This was one of the things that I fought hard for when I was in the church, is for us to have much more practical, everyday conversations about what people are really dealing with. Because again, if people are feeling ashamed and they're using that as the reason not to talk about what their issues are having, they don't get healing, they don't get breakthrough, they don't get to find that happy space. Because shame in a condemnation sense isn't healthy. But there is a sense of accountability that isn't fun, it isn't pleasurable, that comes when you're reckless. So how do you help people navigate the difference between being accountable and making good decisions, and then what's shame? Because look, some people are just out here being reckless. They're doing what they want to do to be defiant. They're being countercultural intentionally. And again, shame in a condemnation sense isn't something that is considered to be good, but there is a certain pain of accountability that does play a purpose. How do you find the balance between the two?
Yeah, so quite often when I had clients, for example, who would come in for HIV testing, the first thing that they would do if I let them know that they were positive was they would shame themselves, and then they would also shame the fact that they had been with all these other people, as if they had known. When we're talking about transmission rates, a lot of times it's due to people not being honest with themselves. If you are upholding a boundary, if you are upholding a standard of this person and I need to, we starting to get a little hot and heavy, we need to discuss testing. If that person is not willing to get tested for you, they don't deserve you. They're showing right then and there, okay, they're not someone I'm going to feel safe with. They're not someone I can enjoy that rose with. So That's one way. I also think that when we're talking about holding people accountable, I believe that some folks, how do I say this? We can't bring everybody. You have to pay attention to how people treat one another. If someone is calling somebody out their name in the middle of the street, talking real bad and reckless about certain groups of people, if this person looks down on certain people that are serving them, that's telling you right then what kind of character they have. And people do switch up. I'm not gonna front like they don't. People do switch up. And I do believe that we are allowed to say to one another, what you doing is wrong. What you doing out here is unsafe, it's unhealthy. You're not treating our community right. I think that overall, especially when we talk about sex in our community, there does need to be some sort of public accountability for people not holding one another accountable, but also not holding themselves accountable and continuing to congregate and socialize with people that are harming each other. I do not think that you have to shame somebody in order to do that. I think you can simply call out this person is causing harm.
Okay, Lex. All right. Let me ask you this modern example. Everybody could probably relate to Sexy Red.
Okay.
I believe Sexy Red need to be shamed. What she is doing as a representation to our community, how it reflects upon other Black women, is abominable. I don't care who you are, what you into, what you like. That representation needs to be shamed, in my personal opinion. Okay. What are your thoughts?
Sexy Red make hoochie mama music. We always had hoochie mama music, and hoochie mama music is for the hoochies. We gonna have folks that want to be the hoochies, and that's fine. And I think that we have plenty of folks in our community who have huge platforms, way bigger than hers, who are doing nothing but positive. She is not the centermost point. It's simply that when folks do things that are egregious or folks do things that are kind of on the fringes of society, then they're going to get the most attention. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. But she's not the only representation of our country or of our community or of our ethnic group. She is simply one version. And I think that we are allowed to be multiple dynamic people. There is some rapper that you love who you probably would not allow around the children in your family. So it's perspective. This is someone whose art that we consume, who is a person in society, but is not the at all be all. And she makes hoochie mama music. If you go way, way back since they first started recording people on music, you are going to hear somebody over 100 years ago say something even more vulgar than what she's saying.
I'm blowing up the spot. You blowing up my platform tonight, okay, everybody. I'm just gonna say this, I think you're right, but I think we have a problem in our community of over sexualization of young Black women, Black men. When you talk about harm reduction and some of the things, when we talk about sex, spread of HIV, when we talk about substance abuse, the use of needles and different things that spread HIV faster than anything in our communities at times. This conversation is very important and it needs to be had. I just think the overall health conversation, especially when we talk about mental health, everybody's like mental health. Yeah. But I think sexual health is very important as well. Mm-hmm. With the increased amount of, the substance abuse use, needles, the recklessness, behind the fentanyl use and the substance abuse of the community, the spread of these diseases. I think over the last 5-10 years, when you talk about HIV and you talk about the spread of STIs and disease, it's been an increase, but it's not talked about, since COVID-19. Mm-hmm. How do we shine a light that these diseases still impact our community? Because there is this mindset from some folks in the community that say, hey, this is from this certain community. Or they'll say the LGBT community, or they'll say people that's using drugs. But we know that it's a fast spreading disease. Yeah. And how do we keep highlighting it? And how do we bring it to our young people. I get into these debates and these conversations with folks, and they say, "Well, John, I don't want my fifth grader, talking about this." But you look over the internet, you hear some of the stuff that's going on. Girls 5, 10, 11, 12 years old is pregnant.
Yeah.
So, like, where do we cross that line and say, well, the hormones are moving faster? Like you said, the food that we eat. Young people are with the music, the movies, the games, everything is over sexualized. Where is that line at where we have that conversation, not only with community, but with our families? How do we get parents comfortable enough? Because I hear a lot of parents like, I ain't having that conversation. My kid only 10 years old, right?
Yes.
How do we change that narrative, or how do we change that approach so that we can have that conversation in our community and in our homes where it's especially needed? Because when I watch some of these Disneys, I got an 8-year-old granddaughter, and I watch some of the stuff on Disney, YouTube. I'm saying they already kissing and all kind of stuff, right? So, like, when do you have that conversation?
So we're born sexual beings. A lot of people do not like to hear that because they can't imagine this precious little angel that you're holding that's like 10 pounds with chubby cheeks is one day going to be potentially sexually active or declare or have or experience a sexuality. Those conversations start very young. I have taught sex ed to kids in my village as young as like soon as they can talk. Sex ed does not start when you start liking a particular gender of people. Sex ed starts with understanding that if you don't want to hug that person, you ain't got to hug them. If that person gives you bad vibes, you don't have to be around them. If someone is telling you to do something with your body, and this is not a person that we trust, this is not a person, it ain't like, oh, the teacher telling you to pick up your pencil. But if someone is saying, oh, you need to put your hand on this part of my body, or you need to do this with your body, that's something that starts way before 15, 16 years old. That's something that you have a conversation with your children when you're giving them a bath. Start telling them, stop using these cutesy words for their different body parts, because one of the ways that predators are able to push through in our community is our children not knowing their body parts by the real names so that they can explain what's happening to them if they feel uncomfortable or if something has taken place. Those conversations start immediately, as soon as they can talk. If your baby can understand eyes, mouth, ears, they can understand I have a penis or I have a vagina, and nobody touches that but mommy or whoever, mommy and daddy, or whoever is someone in my family that I get a bath with, or anyone who changes me. And that also means, and that's something that I am appreciating about the ways that in the Black community we are discussing how we raise our kids. That means answering questions that are a little uncomfortable, but that for a fact you wondered the same thing. That's also being open to understanding that your child may say something like I don't like the way you touching me. And you got to understand that the way you respond helps shape how they handle consent as an adult. Teaching them very small ways. Like, the same way you might not as a parent feel comfortable right now about, oh, your child saying, well, I don't like the way you talk to me. But let's be real. Yes, they made you mad, but did it warrant that? Did it really warrant? Did you God kid out their name now? Being good parents means being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to apologize, being willing to say, I don't know. There are really great resources out there. One of them is called oh goodness, it's on YouTube, and it's called amaze.org. And it has a YouTube channel, and it talks about lots of hard conversations in a way that is child appropriate. And it was one of the resources that I used to use when I taught sex ed to kids.
Can you put that in? We can put that in the chat. I'm using cotton candy as my safe word because I'm a virgin. I never, I'm saving myself.
You a virgin with a grandchild? That's
this
wild.
Conversation is bucking my ear right now. I'm trying to save myself. So,
come on, Bishop, don't be like that. Don't be like that. Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Yeah, I think I'm glad that you talked about, some of the things that folks have, in common and was safe for each other. But I don't want people out sleeping in the cars and stuff like that. Okay, Lex, I know you said you have to be free and whatever people like, but I don't want to see people in the backseat of their car while walking down the street, expressing themselves in the community. Okay, it happens a little too much around here. But I mean, I see all of your stuff in there on the slides with BDM and all your whips and stuff. I don't want to be whipped. Okay.
You ain't got to be whipped. One thing I will say is the BDSM community got consent down, honey. You ain't never got to worry about one of them doing something to you you don't want to do.
Oh, no. You sign forms. Usually you'll have a written meeting. You'll sit down and go through everything that you like, don't like, what you agree to, what you don't agree to, safe words. So then you sign off. So you document consent before you even set up the scenario.
Come on.
I can't even get people to sign a non-disclosure.
And that's an actual perfect example of communities that have accepted the fact that they are very sexual beings and they reject shame. They are so much more open. And a lot of times, unfortunately, these communities are having to be underground with their activities, but they are so much more open and very, very enthusiastic about the importance of consent because they want to play, they want to have fun.
And they do. And I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you about your experience because cultural perceptions shift throughout time. Our culture has gone through a shift where I think in the last maybe 2 to 3 years, I saw a clinical not psychologist, but there is a clinical doctor, and she was talking about that particularly in the African-American community, they've noticed a correlation in the rise of oral herpes with the trend of eating groceries. Folks know what I'm talking about. And in our culture, it's like we go through these periods where we get these new trends, but then we see a direct reflection in our activity and then the results. So how do you kind of address these things? Because again, I know people want to have fun, they want to turn up, do whatever, but at some point you got to ask yourself, like, what's the price I'm paying for these kind of activities? And when we start bringing these new kind of waves of diseases back into the community, is our individual right to seek pleasure more important than our responsibility for overall public health to our community?
No, it's not. I will answer that with another one. So when I was young, when I was a kid, I'll say early puberty, was when the HPV shot was released. And it's a booster, it's a 3-part booster. And I remember the commercials. And when I was a child, I wanted to be an OBGYN. So a lot of the things that I'm teaching about today, I started learning as a kid. But in a different way, I was just obsessed with the human body. And I remember watching these commercials about basically get these it was only daughters, get your daughters the HPV shot, save their life, prevent cervical cancer. But I'm like, if it's an STD, and me, a child of the 90s and understanding the HIV epidemic, ain't an STD for everybody? And now we have these issues where HPV has spread through men who are now exhibiting other forms of the virus, meaning a whole generation of young boys could have been vaccinated along with their girl counterparts, and they did not. I think that making sure that when we're talking about sex, we're not just putting it on the experience of one particular gender, because like I said, this education belongs to everybody, and you do not know who is going to need it when. There are things as men that you may have told a woman that they did not know about your experience or about the experiences of women that you knew. That helps combat the spread of viruses and disease and STIs through our experiences of trends. So when I would talk about the activity you just mentioned, a lot of times I would combine it with the use of flavored condoms and dental dams. I would also teach them tricks about knowing which side you used. And when I would make the packets, I would pair them. So I would put like blueberry with cherry, and I'd call it like a berry bunch. I do lemon lime. I try to make it interesting. And so this is also one of the things that helps with the education for different communities. And especially if you're linked into someone who works in reproductive justice, like at an LGBT center, at a clinic, at a nonprofit that has access to condoms, this is something that you can also encourage them to have. And so that way you can grab those for those youth that maybe aren't going to go in there, or get them for the church folks for who are going to be learning about this. And it's going to help that when the next trend comes around, you have so much information that you understand about sex that you're going to be like, oh no, I'm going to keep doing it this way. Or that sounds fun, but I'm gonna grab this when I try this new thing. And it also is going to make sure that you're still encouraging that testing, because the testing is like one of the major keys of preventing the trends from changing the viral load of the community.
Well, I'm glad you talked about lubrication tonight. I think some of the ladies out there, they have issues with the lubrication, and it's okay, right? I think you covered that really well tonight, because we hear that in the community. A lot of times people don't want to use lubrication, but it makes sense, like you said, to have protect yourself from cuts and different things of that nature. So I think that's important, so that a lot of women, because they get in their emotions and feel like, oh, I can't deliver the flood.
And I think it's also, when we're talking about someone being a top, or this person who may be penetrating the other person, it's really important to understand too, it's not supposed to hurt like that. That's part of why the lube exists. It's not, and I know a lot of people got blame a lot of different folks for why that behavior is considered standard, but it's not supposed to hurt like that. Also, learn your different lubricants. If you have certain needs, you might need a silicone lubricant, you might need a water-based lubricant. Learn. Also, if you are using coconut oil or any oil-based lubricant, it is breaking down your condom. It will cause your condom to break. It will cause your condom to not work very well. And you will have a lovely little blessing coming very soon. And you may also have another little blessing you don't want. So
I think that's what happened to me.
Petroleum and water does not mix.
I'm calling my daughter mom tonight. I think the Vaseline.
I thought she was a virgin. I thought she was a virgin grandfather of an 8-year-old.
Hey, everybody that caught on to that lie, Bishop. Everybody that caught on to that lie, Bishop. We ain't gonna sell that one no more.
That's what happened to me. I was 17 years old. Okay, I was a young father. Okay, I didn't know. All right.
And see, somebody should have told you this. And a lot of people
didn't
just
know.
don't know.
Where were you at, Lex? Nobody was there to teach me this stuff when I was
I'm sorry. I was probably in high school too? I don't know.
But I mean, I think seriously why, it's important that you're here to do this, because, we do have a vast community that watches. And, I love that you able to smile and make it fun. And I think that's so important. That's one of the things that we always, try to do when we have these conversations or these educations, is to keep it light, right? Because I think sometimes when we have these conversations, it's tense, especially when parents are talking to their children. It's hard for them to receive, right? And I think even as we approach this Sunday, talking about unveiling Venus, I think you should come on and be a panelist this Sunday, okay? We need you to come talk to somebody, because some of these women might be unveiling. They need to have a lesson. I don't know. Maybe they got to pull out the wheels. I don't know. It's going to be great. I think you should come this weekend and bring your perspective. But I like to keep it light. And I always tell this, because I do this when I mentor young people in juvenile hall, when I mentor the young people, is like, you could be stern and serious, but how do you also make the conversation where kids could feel like it's fun, it's funny, it could be a little silly, but again, like you said, it's a safe space where they can be open to receive the information and literally put it into use. So just happy that you're able to, keep the dialogue safe, but also fun with smiles, because I think people will grab a hold to it and pull the conversation together. But as we continue to talk about, how our communities are disproportionately, I can't even speak. I can't even get it out.
You got it.
This lubrication is in my head. You didn't mess me up about the Vaseline. I'm calling my daughter. Where is she? I'm calling her tonight. She got me. Okay, but our communities are affected, in so many ways when we talk about the spread of disease, and how do we encourage that conversation of pleasure, safe, and,
Yeah.
and putting it all together. And when you talk about some of these things, safe, not only the consensual part, but safe words
Mm-hmm.
to say, hey, I'm okay or not. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of mind boggling though, because it's like after the consent, do I really want to be in the middle of being pleasure and talk about, are you okay? I don't want to, I don't know. Tell me how that works. I
I
don't know.
think that you do though, because there is a way to make it sexy. If you are doing your job, then you already are asking that question. You're already looking for indicators that that person is enjoying themselves just as much as you are. And if you respect that person and yourself, you're willing to kind of stop and regroup if it looks like this isn't going where it needs to, or this isn't becoming an enjoyable experience. You want that for both of you, or all of you, depending on who all is there. So you're not there for nothing. Neither one of y'all are there for nothing. Y'all both came to get something.
Ooh, I'm so glad you
I
said
don't know. I might be a statue.
You ain't no doggone statue.
But Lex, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the other trends that we are seeing that is growing is the poly community.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're starting to engage in these conversations, and again, regardless of what your preference is, I'm sure there's, when you're guiding or coaching someone, there's maybe a standard list of questions to kind of make sure you can properly set the scenario up to create the safest environment to enjoy yourself.
Yes.
If you are going to sit down and advise somebody in any one of those variations or situations, what would you give them as the standard questions that they should make sure that they ask, so they have the right conversation to set up an enjoyable, safe experience?
So I would definitely ask them, like, what are your hard boundaries? Like, if there are things that you know for 100% you're not willing to try, even if maybe you've done it in the past, it doesn't matter. You could have did it yesterday, but that's not who you're willing to do that with at that time. So, what are your hard boundaries? What are your like hard no's? What are some things that you're interested in trying? Is there anything you want to try new with me? Is there something that you want to go pick out, or want to show me an example of? And I think finding a safe word, and it could be something silly. There is no shame in laughing during sex too. That builds the bond, that makes it feel, that it builds your endorphins, and that's what you're accessing when you're engaging in pleasure in any way, is your endorphin levels. um and then also, what are things that bring you pleasure that aren't simply sexual, that we can engage in? Is there something that you like artistically? Is something like food in the bedroom? Or is there something visually that stimulates you? That helps make sure that everybody is enjoying themselves on a long term basis, whether that be like several hours or a whole lifetime with this person. But it also helps you find ways to build foreplay in your everyday experiences with someone and amongst yourself.
Lex, that's kind of scary, because you know, I don't want to be having sex and then somebody just start crying. They just
It
start busting
happens.
out crying. And it's like, what's going on here, right?
It
Or somebody just start laughing. I don't know. That just would mess me up in the head. I don't know. I'm still a virgin, y'all. Okay, I don't
They
know.
might be ticklish.
Ah,
I just had that picture
hey,
go up my
Bishop,
head.
quit with
Right?
this
I'm
virgin
in there,
talk, man. Stop,
trying
Right.
to have
stop it.
something. And next thing you know, they just break out crying. I was like, what's going on? Why are you crying?
It's because you bring out such deep emotions. It's a
Right.
passion thing. It's a passion thing.
Right.
But you know what,
Right.
Lex, since we got you here, and this is one of the myths that I hope you can help
Mhm.
for a lot of us men out here. Because there's always been, particularly in the Black community, there are certain expectations that all brothers got to be, packing around baby legs in order to get the job done. Can you set some of the men's minds at ease about the true anatomical measurements and what it takes to actually reach certain things to please a woman?
Yeah.
Because
Cotton candy, Mark. That's my safe word. Cotton candy.
Most science research that has studied sexuality has found that between like 5 to 7 inches is very pleasurable, is usually not hurting someone as much. Obviously, there are very many shapes and sizes, but you have to also think about how much space there is even there, and what's anatomically possible. And so 5 to 7 inches is average. 5 to 7 inches is what most partners have said that they enjoy. It's a sweet spot. And I think that also it's really important for you to be honest about yourself around anatomical realities, because one of the things that I noticed when I used to distribute condoms, especially back home, and I'm from a majority Black place, is that folks would only want the gold wrappers. So what I did was I would put them in the front of the condom packs. But I would only put one because most people don't need that. And what happens is when you get one of those and you don't need it, then you also risk losing it. It comes off, or it's not for the operational needs that you have. So be honest with yourself, be honest with your partners, and get the ones that you need for yourself.
Lex, my viewership is going down. The guys are locking.
Thank you, Lex, for telling the truth.
Thank you, because that's all I got.
Well, it's been great having you here. I'm serious about you signing up this Sunday. We're going to have a great conversation. Unveiling Venus. I don't know. We got some unveiling and unpacking to do this Sunday. It should be a great conversation. Safe word. If y'all hear me say cotton candy, something's about
Cotton candy. We got you.
But
if I hear you say that in public, you know something.
See, like, I'm trying to keep it together. Cotton candy. I don't think I'm going to make it.
You in community. So.
I don't think I'm going to make it to the benediction tonight. Lex, thank you for coming here having this conversation tonight.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna make it to the end of the show tonight. But this is very important. Definitely want to reach out to you and see, if we could definitely partner in some kind of way, or we can help support. I want to get our young people more. I'm dealing with a lot of teenage kids who are going through that puberty, going through that teenage phase, going through some things. And I think a lot of schools have taken sex ed out. A lot of families don't know how to have the conversation. And I definitely would like to put some kind of event. I've been talking to some of the folks at DPH. There was a program where young people would go around the communities and pass out condoms. People stand on the corners, and some of that stuff went away at the time of the pandemic. But we definitely need to bring back some of these conversations for our young people, even some of the elders. I remember somebody coming on having about a year ago came on and talked about one of the topics kind of like this, but talked about how there was a high level of seniors, contracting HIV and STIs, at thinking that because they're older or because they're elders, they don't have to, protect themselves in the same way. So I would definitely love to continue to have some kind of support, or however we can support you to make sure that our young people get this information, and our families in the community. I think is very important, especially with all that's going on with substance abuse, the needle exchange programs, and just, folks out in the community trying to find their pleasures and just really having a safe way to go about it. So I definitely want to put that into play and figure out, on a serious note, of how we can really continue to impact the community and the community with these conversations and education, because I think it is something publicly that we need to do. And I always appreciate this platform because it gives people a time in their home and their privacy. Tonight, you impacted somebody sitting behind. They don't have to be exposed. They can be watching on YouTube like, oh, you know what? I didn't know this. Because everybody's not so public, right, with these conversations. And I think this is important part of this Educational Thursday. For all the folks who are tuning in for the first time, or maybe you didn't know what Educational Thursday was about, it's really to be intentional, to bring these type of conversations and information to our community so that we can uplift our community with knowledge and information. So much can happen when you have the information and the knowledge and really change the narrative in the community. So I really appreciate you seriously coming on, talking about this difficult conversation for some folks, this taboo conversation for some people in our community. Some of our spiritual folks, they don't want to have this kind of conversation public. People are just, but I'm happy that you came tonight, being brave and being straightforward and being vulnerable. And I always say on this platform, vulnerability and the testimony of people is what really change our community, right? If we don't see people who look like us, who can have that conversation, say, hey, I've been through this, I experienced this, this is why I'm doing this. We just to show me people. If they don't see it, they don't believe it. And I just appreciate you putting together a well put together presentation. And again, it gives our community a time at their leisure to go back and watch and get some information. Maybe there's a parent out there watching, or a guardian or a foster care parent, and say, hey, to their young people, hey, watch this YouTube, and see if you could pick something out of it. And I think that's why it's so important. So I appreciate you coming tonight, giving up your time, giving back to the community in this way. It's very, very important that we continue to exercise these conversations, these presentations to uplift our community. And just wanted to say thank you. But before we let you go, because I know it's getting late, I want to give you an opportunity to uplift somebody, give a shout out to your folks, people who help you, or whoever you want to acknowledge, because I don't want them to get mad at you. I saw you on both sides of the conversation. You shot me out, and I was the one who helped you. Now, this is your time. And then leave any parting words that you want to leave to the community tonight before we exit.
Yes, I want to shout out to all my people in my hometown of Memphis. Y'all keep it up. Big up Memphis, man. And I also want to shout out all my people in the Bay Area. Shout out to all my California people, my California bestie who's watching. Hey, Kobe. And thank you so much, everybody in my life who came, is watching, is contributing. I really hope that this touches all of us in our communities. Feel free to hit me up on socials if you have a question, if you want me to come talk to the community. I think that's it. And I really appreciate y'all for having me on. This is an ever-growing conversation, and it's something that we definitely have to talk more and more about.
Most definitely. Thank you for coming tonight. It was great. If you get time this Sunday, I definitely want you to come on. It's going to be a crazy conversation with our women unveiling Venus. I don't know. Mars is going to crash into Venus this Sunday. But it should be a great conversation. But again, just want to say thank you for being here. Give you all your love and your just due for coming on and presenting amazing presentation tonight to our community. We definitely connect to you in the future as we continue to put these topics and these conversations together, because we do want to impact our community with these type of presentations and information to help our community.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. I'll see y'all soon.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening, Queen. All right, Mark. There you have it, Mark. We blowing up the spot. I don't know where everybody going tonight. Both sides of the conversation. We hit the mark tonight. Brother Mark, I don't know.
That was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was a great one. It's cotton candy time.
You gonna stop with that I'm a virgin line, man. Come on, man. You gotta tell the truth. You the bishop.
Come on, man. I'm waiting till I get married, okay? I'm saying married, okay? I'm a virgin, okay? Y'all leave me alone. My virgin ears. I'm a virgin, okay? But Brother Mark, this was a great presentation. I know a lot of information. I don't know about the leather whips and the handcuffs and all of that stuff, Mark. I wasn't feeling so comfortable. Cotton candy. I don't want to be here with no.
Hey, just no means no when it comes to the whips. No means when it comes to the whips.
I had a traumatic moment about slavery. Too many things was going. I was like, God candy.
Man, it's still Black History Month. No whipping.
I do not consider that. I don't know. I didn't mess up the platform tonight. I can't do it tonight. show tonight, but I don't know, Mark. I'm a little messed up. I'm traumatized.
You're gonna be all right, Bishop. You're gonna be all right. I got you, brother. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Because I will say this. One of the things I appreciate the most about Lex, she is gifted. She has a level of empathy and care for other people in a subject in an area that is so sensitive that it takes somebody who has what she has to be able to do this effectively. She's doing God's work, literally. And I'm so glad we had an opportunity, because literally last night, I got a text from my daughter, who's 19 years old and a freshman in college, to have a conversation about how to navigate a situation with a young man she potentially may be interested in. And that phone call was the result of years of us having honest conversations. And it's the fact that we can have these conversations that prepare our young people to make healthy decisions, to be safe as they have to navigate growing up and interacting in relationships. And the information Lex is given is something that needs to get out to the community. So I'm so glad that she came on and shared, and I hope she comes back Sunday night.
Man, I think it's gonna be great. Yeah, it was a great conversation. I think it's very important, especially with our young people in the community. And I hope some of the parents and guardians and folks that were watching tonight, have those conversations as our young people transition in their teenage age and puberty, that we just be smarter and start preparing them with the safe measures that they need, and have the conversations and be open, so that we could, cut down some of the numbers of pregnancy, the spread of disease in our community, and things of that nature. So I think it's gonna be something, that we just have to start doing. We have to change that narrative about that conversation in our community to be better. But again, like you said, Mark, when we work with our young people, our children early, and when they come to us with difficult conversations, we don't yell and scream and shut them down. Right. It gives us an opportunity to get involved and build that trust where they will reach out and have that difficult conversation with you without no judgment. So safe spaces, safe zones is what we're creating. I don't know if it's so safe here at both sides of the conversation. Cotton candy. I already know. I can see the ladies' teeth be blowing me up. Oh, as soon as they see me in the community, oh, cotton candy. Oh, I just started something now. But great show tonight. I know Sister Io's out. Just want to send her, uplift her spirits and prayers for her. As we continue to move forward, we just got to keep doing it. But as community, we will continue to uplift the people. If this is your first time tuning in, this is our Educational Thursday segment. We are here every Thursday to intentionally bring education, information to our community that sometimes our community just don't get for whatever reason. That's what it's all about. We want to continue to keep elevating community, keep elevating information to our community so that we can change the narrative, thrive, and move forward. And, all of this happened with lifting the voices of the people. So with that being said, it is that time. I must give the benediction. I don't know if I'm going to get through it. I feel choked up now. I don't know. Say cotton candy. I can't get it out. I don't know. But I got to get the benediction out tonight, because I don't know. I saw a whip. I saw some things tonight. I don't know if I can think and process straight tonight. I don't know. I don't know if it was the Vaseline 17 years ago that's coming back to hurt me. I don't know. There's a lot of things that's happening, okay? I'm finding out too much information at my old age, okay? But I gotta go with this, all right? Community, tonight, you've got some new information. I don't know your age. I don't know where you're from. Tonight, you picked up some information that you can use, even as an adult. There's tools out here that you can use to be a better person. When we talk about privacy, when we talk about pleasure, sometimes the pleasure is pleasure in yourself. Sometimes it is pleasure in other people, whatever your choice is. Make sure that you have the consent. Make sure you are comfortable. Make sure you understand when you find that dynamic person that you want to come together in unity. Have those safe words. Mine is cotton candy. I don't know. Just make sure you find a way to make sure that you embrace and you feel the way you need to feel. Be the way you be. Have the expressions that you need to be the young, the beauty, the glow, whatever it is. You find that. Tonight's conversation has been powerful. It's been fun. It's been up and down. but it's some things that we could pull away to make a better, a safe community. When we talk about making our community healthy, when we talk about health, not only mental health, sexual health, we have to do the things that we need to do to protect our community. We don't want to spread disease. We don't want to continue to deploy our community and tear it down. We want to make sure that we're building healthy communities. Healthy communities start with healthy mindset, healthy understanding. This Educational Thursday gave you a sense of what things could be if we all find a way to find the things that we need in a way that's safe, healthy, and it works for us all. I don't know what it is for you. I know for me, I have certain things I just can't do until I get to that point. Cotton candy, leave me alone, okay? All right, but I just want to say, continue to practice the things that you need to practice in your life that continues to uplift our community and not harm our community. It takes us all. Take this information, apply it to your life, find a way to impact somebody else. Maybe you are not the one that can have that conversation. Maybe it's tonight's segment that you share with one of our young people or someone in the community. When we talk about substance abuse, drug use, be careful, be mindful of the things that we're doing and how it impacts us on our health. As we continue to push healthy societies, healthy communities, it takes us all to be in to make sure that that narrative shift happens and that we continue to impact each other in our community. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in to tonight's Educational Thursday. This Sunday, we will have a Sunday conversation. All of the ladies, all of the women from Venus, I don't know. You get a special invitation to come talk with the bishop this Sunday, and you are coming to Mars. I don't know. We unveiling some of the things that women are concerned about. I don't know if it's 99% of you. I don't know. If we talking about the rose, we talking about the loop. I don't know. We're going to have a great conversation. There's some things happening in our community as we continue to try to build love within our community, building Black love. When we talk about building up each other, a unity of love is so much needed in our community. We're going to have a great conversation. We're going to unpack some of the secret desires some of these women need. Maybe the secret, maybe it is the rose. I don't know. Maybe it is the water-based lubricant. Maybe it is the whips and ties. I don't know. We're going to find it out. We're going to unpack the minds of the women of the community and see what it's all about. What can we do to help it out? And it should be a great, fun conversation. The bishop, I know they will be throwing rocks at me this Sunday. There will be shots fired all over the place. We will be blowing up the spot. I don't know. It's going to be a great show. I hope you in. We still got some room out there. So all you ladies that want to get in on the conversation, I think we still got a few more spots. You can sign up and join this Sunday's conversation. It should be great. It should be fun. Again, on this last day of Black History Month, thank you all for making this month a special month. Shout out to all of our amazing API folks, all of the folks who put together the Chinese parade, all of the folks that uplifted and celebrated Lunar New Year's. It was amazing this month. And I just hope as community, we continue to work in solidarity. We continue to uplift the greatness of all the people that are in our communities. We still have work to do. We are not where we need to be, but together we could get there. And we are thankful for all of you all. Thank you to all of the amazing folks and all of our community leaders and all of our city elected officials who continue to push the narrative forward, who continue to change the narrative, and who continues to uplift the voices of the people. We will do our part. Stand with us, step with us as we continue to change the narrative and uplift the voices of the people. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. It's going to be a traumatizing night. Go please yourself. Go do something great. I don't know. Cotton candy, cotton candy. Good night now, community.